Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Someday I'll Have a Podcast. My name is Ren. I am your host. I'm your host every single week, even though I don't do this weekly. But I'm still your host then and always. Honestly, I recorded this episode quite a while ago, and when I listened to it back to go and edit it and put it all together, literally, it sounded horrible. Like, I was moving around so much, the sound was just like not top notch, and like I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to do better for you all, okay? So that is why I'm here today in this element. And I'm talking about ageism, and specifically ageism in music. I obviously want to start off with the fact that this is not like a big deal. It's not like a damaging, horrifying thing that goes on. Like, literally no one is going to die because of this happening, this phenomenon, right? But I definitely feel like it's something worth talking about. It's something that I experience. And obviously, again, as always, I'm talking just based on my experiences. And I'm going to talk about it in like two different facets. And in a few different like communities. I don't know. I'm just gonna ramble on for a while, as Led Zeppelin would say. See, I know some things. No, this podcast is basically just a stream of consciousness sort of thing where I just talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about because this is the internet and I really can do what I want. No niches here. We don't care. And by we, I mean me. So if you're listening, thank you for being here. Anyway, first things first, I feel like I want to just talk about the experience of like, okay, so I'm 24, I'm a 20-something amateur, okay, doesn't know anything about classic rock according to the older generation, right? I feel like we hear about it a lot of like the distance between like millennials and people who are in their 20s right now versus like Gen Zers, and then the baby boomers, right? Like the people who are like 40 and up at this time, the day I'm recording this. And in my experience, when I go to work, the clientele and the people around me, the people that I the people that I encounter most of the day are of that older generation, the people who grew up on rock and roll and the quote unquote classics, right? The classics even to this day. And while I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know a lot about music or a lot about, that music, I don't know nothing. But regardless, I just think it's funny that so many people have this idea of like, almost like elitism of like what you know about music. So like, obviously, I was born in 1998. I did not grow up in the 60s, 70s, 80s when these like classics were being born and being shared with the world. And therefore, I have a different experience in the music world. For whatever reason, that's hard for people to understand. I feel like a lot of times younger people my age, get like judged. I don't know if that's the correct word I'm looking for, but yeah, basically like get judged for not, knowing, being able to name all the members of the band Kiss or knowing, AC/DC's top 5 hits of all time. Like, all just this like very particular things about the music that like is considered the classics, but also just the music that like this older generation grew up on. But I think it's worth talking about the fact that literally we just have different experiences. And you can zoom out and put that in any facet of life. We all just have different experiences. For whatever reason, it seems like that's really hard for people to understand. And so in regards to music, it kind of makes me giggle, hearing people talk about like be so flabbergasted and just blown away. People just get so surprised and like ashamed of the fact that people my age don't know these like facts and songs and lyrics and things of these older bands. And oftentimes when that sort of reaction is given, it's almost like a sort of elitism because of age, because of literally when you were born. It's like this idea of like, it literally like translates as like, I cannot believe you don't know X, Y, or Z, but it's literally just a result of like, because of when I was born. Like, I could understand if someone was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe you don't know what the capital of North Carolina is. Because, we all went to school and we all learned the states and capitals in elementary school. And I'm pretty sure it's Raleigh. But if I'm wrong, that's just basic. And yeah, maybe I should know. But I shouldn't necessarily know like all the names of the members of Van Halen, right? Or like, these crazy things. It's like, how would you expect me to know these things when we had very different experiences? Like, we stepped out on the music scene in very different times. And because music is made by people come and go off this earth. Like, yeah, their creations and their art stays behind, of course. And that's a beautiful thing. That is the most beautiful thing about music, probably. But it's like the times change because it's just people making music. And that brings up the other like midpoint, I guess, is just the fact that like music really does exist in a realm. It surpasses like space and time. It's timeless. It's a beautiful, magical thing, and I will be the first person to say that, regardless of the genre, the whatever. The way that music can connect people, the power of music, that's another reason why I love doing my little song recommendation at the end of each episode, because I feel like music is always something that should be shared and connected upon and like related to and related with, and these are like important things. And so like I will be the first one to say like, hell yeah, music is important. Like, more people should know about this than the other, because it's like, these are very special, powerful things. But I'm also never gonna like judge someone for like not stepping out on the scene in the same time, or literally being born at a certain time. Really, when you think about it, that's kind of crazy. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe you didn't come out of your mother's womb until 2005. How come you don't know these songs from 1986? That's what you sound like when you're saying stuff like that. Literally. And so that brings me sort of to this other idea of like the amount of time you've spent in a music scene. So like, oh my God, there's so many things I want to talk about in this like conversation. First of all, let's go the pop punk route first. I am seeing my favorite band for the 13th pop punk band for the 13th time this summer. Okay. To me, that's a lot. But then there's all these people I know online from the Twitter, like fandom and all this stuff, that literally have seen these people like hundreds of times, like literally followed on tour for the last 10 years type shit. Right. And that's amazing. And you know what? I am so proud of the fact that this is my 13th time seeing and supporting these people that I love for their art and their talent and the connections that I've been able to make through them, and et cetera, et cetera. And I'm so proud that I'm going for the 13th time to, support them, see their show, enjoy their art in a live scene, right? But I'm also so freaking proud and happy for the people who have been able to do it quadruple the times I have. That's so cool. That's awesome for you. And again, we have different experiences. My life experience hasn't not afforded me financially the ability to see them that many times. And even if it had, would that be the choice that I made? That doesn't change the amount that I love and support their art in music, through music, right? And so it's funny to me too when people have the reaction of any age of like you are lesser than because you've only seen them this many times, or you've never seen them before. I can't believe you've never seen X, Y, or Z band or artist or DJ live before. Oh my gosh, they're a classic. How can you not know this song? That sort of shit blows my mind because, dude, who cares? Literally, who cares? You can enjoy the art you want to enjoy. I'm going to enjoy the art I want to enjoy. And you know what? That's what makes the world go round. Yup, that's what makes the world go round. And so that's another funny thing because I would say I'm pretty heavily involved in the electronic dance music scene in Chicago and around the world, like traveled for music festivals, continuing to travel for music festivals, seeing artists and DJs around the world, whatever. Awesome. I love that. That's something that I enjoy doing, spending my time doing. But you will never hear me judge someone or like look down upon someone or whatever for them being new to the scene. Literally, all music does is connect, or should do, is supposed to do, is meant for connect and bring peace and a deeper meaning and feeling of the entire human existence. So why would you ever have this idea of what someone's musical journey or in a live scene supposed to look like? Like literally, I can respect the idea that you earn your stripes, right? You earn the time that you spent, the money you've spent going into these live spaces, making connections, figuring out the ropes, right? I respect that because I've done that. And I respect the hustle of all the people that have done it long before me and for longer times in different scenes, etc. But to knock someone down for literally just having entered a music scene and like started liking an artist like a million years after their existence. No, dude. Literally, that's the opposite of what music is meant to do. It's about plur. Okay. And that, I think, peace, love, unity, and respect goes far beyond just the rave and the electronic dance music scene. That's music. Okay. Electronic dance music, that's the same stuff the Grateful Dead was preaching or it was happening at their shows. Yeah. And I know you're having this idea like they were just passing the blunt. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. Because if that's how you want to enjoy your music, go the frick ahead. Okay. We all have different journeys. But again, like, it's just funny to me observing how people earn their titles as like the OGs or like this person in this scene. Like that's great, but do not discount the other people that are just starting their journey. There's so much beauty in that just as much as someone who's been sticking around in a scene or being part of that energy and community for such a long time. So I think that you have to strike a balance, but the ageism, it's not even, and sometimes, not even ageism, it's just experience. But again, experience comes with time. I started raving when I was 18. Actually, probably when I was 17 into my 18th, senior year of high school. And still people will be like, well, I've been a raver since 2001. Well, great. I was 3. Or however old I was. So awesome to share your story, and I appreciate that, and I would love to learn from you and hear your stories 100%. But also like don't come into it with an attitude of elitism or ego or exclusivity. There are so many like don't approach it from that angle. Because really you're only hurting the community and not building it up. And that's really all that music is to do, is to create a community, literally, right? And this is not a competition. Everyone has their own journey through music. And literally, again, we could zoom out with everything that I'm talking about here and relate it to everything else in life. But I'm talking about music because that's at the heart of it all. But it's not a competition. It is not a competition. Everyone's journeys are different, and that is what makes it beautiful. That's what makes it beautiful. And that's why when we come together as a community, at a show, at a live event, that's where the magic happens. Because we all come from different backgrounds and styles and appreciations and all these magical things. It's an individual yet collective experience. And that's how it should be. And it doesn't matter, if you're 14 and you want to go to see Dead and Company, you should. Because just because you might not know every freaking thing that Jerry Garcia ever said, that does not make you any less or worthy of that experience or any less willing to have that experience. It should not be a matter of age to who can enjoy this art or the opposite, which is like how I started this, talking about my experience of like, can't believe you don't know X, Y, and Z that Jerry Garcia said, right? It's like the idea that your music experience is, no one should feel limited or discouraged around music. I think that's like my final phrase that I'm going to say. I think that's the final takeaway that I'm giving you into this podcast. And truly, I believe that if you clicked on this episode, you were meant to hear it for whatever reason. And so I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you hearing me yabber on. And honestly, I want to hear about your experiences. I want to hear about your experiences. Have they been the exact opposite of mine? Have they been the same and worse? Like, I want this to be a conversation. As always, I want this to be an open dialogue, so you can always feel free to DM me your questions, comments, and concerns and experiences at Live and Large with L Crew on Instagram, because I want to continue this conversation and make it a real conversation and not just me jibber jabbing, yip yapping into the microphone. And so, since we've been talking about music so splendidly for the last 15-20 minutes, I want to share a song with you that I've been digging. It's kind of a breakup song, but has a banging beat. It's called Love Better by CVBZ, which is pronounced Cubs, which I found out one year at Electric Forest when I saw them live and was so confused, but it's pronounced Cubs. And a little bit like indie, a little bit dancey. I don't exactly know how I would fit them into a genre. We don't need to fit anyone into a genre. It's a good song. Listen to it. It's called Love Better by Cubs. And yeah, I'll have the Spotify link to that song in the description of this podcast episode. I'm so glad to be sharing music with you, as I am every single time I produce a podcast episode. And overall, I just want to say thank you for being here. And if you've been hesitant to step out into a music scene because of ageism that's often experienced, I encourage you to make your someday today, just like I did with this podcast. All right? Thank you, everyone, for listening. Make your someday today. Catch you in the next one.